What's up, guys? I'm Caden with Crypto Now or Never, and welcome back to another update on Cocoro. If you enjoy this style of content, please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. As always, none of this is financial advice. Let's get into it.
I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want.
Okay, so if we take a look at Cocoro, you'll see that Cocoro is actually up just over 2% in the last 24 hours. However, it is down since my last video. It's currently at a $6.28 million market cap. In general, Cocoro has pretty much just been bleeding since mid-July. We had this initial spike up when we ran up over a $20 million market cap. But then since then, it's pretty much just been bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. However, as I've said in pretty much all of my previous videos, this is not just a Cocoro issue. Believe me, I understand. Everyone just wants to see Cocoro and a lot of their conviction plays explode. And you're probably tired of me talking about this, but the reality is that everything right now is bleeding against Bitcoin and Ethereum. If you look at the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, it says that we're at 41, which is neutral. Just 3 days ago, we were at 39, which was fearful. I cannot stress this enough. It is extremely important for you to have perspective in this market. The fact that we are fearful on the Crypto Fear and Greed Index is insane. It was just back in April that Ethereum was at $1,380. Since April, it is now at $4,442. And in fact, Ethereum even broke all-time highs. The fact that the market is pulling back a little bit and everyone is freaking out this much should be a very telling sign. This market is very emotional. Now, if you look at the indicator right to the right of it, 51 out of 100 for altcoin season, you have to understand that by definition, Ethereum is an altcoin. So naturally, this indicator is going to be a little bit higher than it should if you're not including Ethereum. To be honest with you, if you were not including Ethereum, I think this indicator would be significantly lower. And a perfect chart to back that up is others against Ethereum. And this is others against Ethereum on the weekly time frame. And you can see that others against Ethereum have been just completely bleeding since April. And this right here is a very telling sign that we are clearly not in altcoin season right now. Now, I will say from a technical analysis standpoint, the RSI and stochastics are extremely oversold. And again, this is the weekly time frame. I wouldn't be shocked if this does start to get a bounce. Now, if we look at Bitcoin specifically, you'll see that Bitcoin actually got a textbook bounce off of the 21-day moving average. This is the level that I've been telling you guys to watch for the last week. Everyone was panicking because Bitcoin was dropping, but the stochastics had gotten extremely oversold and we were retesting the 21-day. As of right now, this current candle is almost a bullish engulfing candle. If we can close this strong, especially as a bullish engulfing candle, this absolutely could lead to new higher highs. Now, is that guaranteed? No, it's not. But it is interesting to see the difference in Bitcoin and Ethereum. If you look at Ethereum, Ethereum is already extremely overbought on the stochastics. And if you look at the RSI is pretty overbought. This does lead me to believe that Bitcoin is going to continue getting a bounce and we could see Bitcoin dominance spike again. I will say when you look at Bitcoin dominance on the daily time frame, we are currently getting rejected off of the 21-day moving average. You can see that we came up and retested it, and as of right now, there is a slight rejection. And the stochastics are getting a little bit overbought. But in general, this Bitcoin dominance drop has been very bullish to see. If you guys have been watching my channel, you know that I've had this bear flag drawn for over a month at this point. I initially drew this bear flag at the end of July with the measure move, and it's nearly played out perfectly. However, nothing drops forever, so Bitcoin dominance getting a bounce is likely. What we would like to see for Bitcoin dominance is for it to get a bounce. However, we want to see it get rejected off of one of these moving averages. Or it doesn't even have to be off of a moving average. We just want to see a rejection. But naturally, the lower the Bitcoin dominance drops, the better for altcoins. And just to put things in perspective again, because everyone is constantly talking about altcoin season. During the last altcoin season, Bitcoin dominance was ranging from 48% to 39%. So even though we have had Bitcoin dominance drop a lot, it's still very high in the grand scheme of things. It's at 58.6%. That just shows you that realistically speaking, there's still a long ways to go, especially for us to be in that euphoric stage that a lot of people are hoping for. I'm not saying that projects won't run before that, but I'm just talking about the actual euphoric stage. So in general, it's just very important that you understand Bitcoin dominance, you understand others against Ethereum, you understand Ethereum, and you understand Bitcoin. All of these charts right now are telling you exactly why Cocoro and so many of these other projects are bleeding. Now, Cocoro specifically is in a very unique position though. If you come over here to their X account, they have 642 followers. You have to understand they've had 2 X accounts that have been suspended. And they also had a Telegram that got hacked and deleted. So they've been through a lot over the last few months. But if you guys watched my last video on Cocoro, Vitalik actually interacted and sold his Cocoro bag. And the reason that's important is because oftentimes in the past, Vitalik makes a post about the Memecoin that he sold. And oftentimes it'll be a donation to charity or something along those lines. And usually when he makes that post, we have seen some huge explosions. We saw Mudang run from a couple million all the way up to 92 million. And that's a project that I was actually covering on my channel during those early stages. So a lot of you guys probably remember Mudang. And then the other one that a lot of people like to point to for Cocoro is that the Nero CTO had that same interaction. And then we saw what the Nero CTO did. Vitalik interacted, they got an HTX listing, then they got a Binance listing. And it ran up to 1.3 billion. Now, is it guaranteed that Cocoro follows that same path? No, it is not. But I will continue to say the same thing. This is still one of the strongest narratives in the entire meme coin space. If you're someone who believes that meme coins are never going to run again, then that's your opinion. But if you believe that meme coins are going to have another rally, I personally don't see why Cocoro won't be one of those projects. I think the community is incredible, and I think the narrative is incredible. And they've already had a lot of bullish interactions. But honestly, that's about it for the update today. It's important for you guys to understand overall market conditions right now. But if you guys are interested in Cocoro and just getting into projects super early in general, then as always, I recommend taking a look at my Discord. We've been printing in here this entire cycle. Some of these plays, you could have turned $1,000 into over $200,000. And once the market starts running again, we're going to see some more huge multipliers. That's just the reality of crypto. But if this is the kind of community that fascinates you, you can find the link right here on my YouTube homepage. It'd be a blessing to have you in here with us. But that's about all. Let me know down in the comments if there are any other projects that you'd like me to cover. If you found this content valuable, please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your day.